base.
Yeah.
It's just for the base
It's
because
the
it's
echo
like
chamber.
what he said earlier, what Red Pill said earlier, is he said, it's all to get them emotionally engaged again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you and I are going, this is BS, and we know it's BS, but it's not intended for you and I.
Yeah.
It's intended so that it's the first word out that fits with the emotion messaging that they've already built up this mud monster that they're going to just throw everything they can at him to keep you away from looking at the mirror that he's projecting back. And that way they just keep them contained. And by the time the election comes around, this is a real dangerous part because I don't know what Trump has planned, but the disclosure of these crimes has to lead up to the election.
Do you think they're happening? Both of you. I want to ask John. I want to ask RP. Do you think that's happening? Because we have the documents, okay? We have the documents. We know crimes were committed. I mean, Comey even said when he was testifying, all I know is I heard Comey at the moment where he said it was, I'm not sure, but he basically said that, one of the emails went somewhere we weren't sure. They knew exactly where it was, and it was going to China, okay? Yeah. And we should all thank the NYPD for sacrificing their lives.
9 of them this year.
For putting out demanding that Comey move forward and try to prosecute Hillary, or else they were going to put out that laptop to give it to WikiLeaks. Yeah. And I still think I think WikiLeaks does have it, and they're waiting for the last second to use it. But I think, just like we saw at the last election, Comey moving forward and putting out, reopening the case, which was a kneecap to Hillary Clinton, I think I'm hoping and praying that they will prosecute. I mean, it just hasn't moved quick enough for a lot of people, and I think it has to do because as much as there's push to the light, there's people trying to push it back into the darkness. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on? I know you guys have been very. I'm pro exposing this child sex trafficking shit. I mean, a woman is she is laughing about running when she's had 4 major cases of international child sex trafficking against her in 1 year. Not just like all time. 1 year. John of God, Nexium, El Chapo, and Epstein, all involving child sex trafficking. And the one thing I find very interesting about Epstein is how they try to make it look like it's just young girls, because for some reason they think everyone would be like, dude, they're 16-year-olds, they want it, or something like that. They don't talk about how, like, one of the witnesses said, Bill Clinton really didn't mess around with us. He was more into the boys. That was the only time we ever heard about boys. I've never heard anyone talking about boys. They are framing this about teenage girls.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just like with Nexium, they don't talk about the child trafficking. They just talk about trafficking.
Yeah, for sure. So what are your guys' thoughts? John?
I think that it has to come out, and I do think that it will to a certain degree. I don't know that all of the truth will come out. I think it'll probably be like 60% maybe. But, President Trump has already shined a pretty bright light on specifically child trafficking and, human trafficking in general as well. And he has gone after pedophiles and purveyors of child pornography more than any other administration combined. In the short time that he's been in office, there has been just a massive amount of these people that have been brought down. I mean, there was just recently the largest online marketplace of child pornography was just taken down. And, I said in my video today, the IP addresses that frequented that website were people from all over the government, among others.
Yes, dude. Yes.
But what's happening is the public's mind, the stage is being set, and the public is gradually realizing just how corrupt these people are. So the coup, this treason to try to remove a democratically elected president, that is opening the door to show exactly what these people were really up to. Yep. And I do believe that it's going to happen. Yep. And just from that tip that I got about Guantanamo, I think it's going to happen, obviously before 2020, but I think it's going to happen early on. And I I see it taking place, and I think that it's necessary because if people
You mean
don't
2020
understand,
election, right? I just want to clear that up because 2020 is like a month and 2 months away. So we're talking about 2020 election that you think something's going to happen, not necessarily January 1st, 2020.
I think that I think we're going to see something in January, just based on that tip. Something's going to happen, whether it's the full disclosure of, child sex trafficking taking place, with all of these powerful people being involved, I don't know. But here's the other thing. Based on Epstein, it doesn't matter that he's dead. Okay. Mm-hmm. They found stacks of DVDs that's the blackmail material. It was like, powerful person plus, 14-year-old girl. Each disc, something different.
I mean, dude, who writes that? Like, if you're gonna have that, wouldn't you be like, Epstein, a raccoon with a popsicle? So, like
Frazzle Drip or something.
Yeah, like something like your thoughts on Frazzle Drip. Do you think that's ever gonna come out, RP? And do you believe in that? Do you think that's out there?
No. I don't believe in Frazzle Drip specifically. I would imagine that there is evidence like that out there, but I think Frazzle Drip specifically was, that's disinformation, because, they create, cottage words like that, and then people use them and then they can point to it and say people who believe in this are insane, right. And they've done it, with the stuff in 2015, the Italian food gate. Well, I'm not going to say it because I know it'll get you shut down right away. But the other stuff, with QAnon, all of it, they can point to us. They can say, these people are crazy and we shouldn't trust them. But I think that it's all going to come out. I just think it's a matter of time. And I think that people have to be gradually brought into it. If it just was, dumped on us all at once, then the nature of the 24-hour news cycle would, very quickly wash over it. And people would be, inundated with stories about other stuff. And then the left would never believe it. It has to be dripped slowly until everybody's full up with knowledge. And then, then the left will have to agree that, this is real, this is happening, we got to protect the children.
A couple quick questions as we bang them out real quick. Was the Anthony Weiner laptop real? I mean, we were talking about NYPD Blue. Right. You don't believe in Frazzle Drip. That's kind of where that supposedly that snuff film is. You don't necessarily believe in that, or you don't believe in the term?
I don't believe in the term. I do believe that stuff exists on that laptop. But I think that it was created just as a side story to, take away the attention from the fact that there is the Anthony Weiner laptop with this very incriminating evidence on it. I think that everything on that laptop, that has been reported is real. There have been so many cops. I mean, I don't even know how many it is now, but, police officers in New York City, either being shot and killed or committing suicide themselves, when
they have like 2 months for retirement,
yes, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense for these people to have killed themselves unless there is something that we don't know about. Obviously, there's a couple of that I have connected. I've got a source actually in the NYPD. Whoa. And so he's been helping me out to make these connections between these guys because many of them he knew personally, or he had another relative that was also NYPD that would have known them. And I've never said this before, but I'll say it here. I'll give you an exclusive. There is two of them. I'm not going to say which two, but the word was that these two were lovers, and one of them killed themselves, and then very shortly after, the other one did the same thing. So I don't know if that is separate from all of these others, but I have to think that there's, the connection, and the Anthony Weiner laptop makes a lot of sense. There was somebody when I first heard about all these cops killing themselves in New York City, first thing I thought was the Anthony Weiner laptop. How do we get a list to figure out, who in the NYPD saw that laptop? Well, it doesn't exist, unless I get to talk to someone in the NYPD who can say, I saw the laptop. And, I know that all these other guys did too. And if you want to email me at redpill78@protonmail.com, you're welcome to do that if you're out there. But that hasn't happened yet, So I think that, there could be a couple of different layers here, but I do believe that they are all connected. And I would not be surprised if it was that.
You haven't nobody's told you they've seen the laptop. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. But I'm saying if you're out there and you're listening, you can email me and tell me about it.
Final two questions, because